live from New York, it's Ask This Engineer.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Ask an Engineer, your live show for live engineering news and asking me, the engineer, all sorts of questions. I'm Lady Adafruit, the founder and engineer of Adafruit, which is where we're broadcasting from. We're in the manufacturing zone of Adafruit. This is where we pick and place and solder and test and prep all of the electronics that you know and love. With me is Mr. Lady Ada.
Hello.
Who is on video control, audio control, and also a bodyguard. And also controller of the schedule. So why don't you tell them what's on tonight's show?
Yeah, all right. On tonight's show, the code is BTLE. That gets you 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. tonight. Celebrating one of the videos that we'll be showing. Show and tell, people around the world showing and sharing their projects and more. Pack the mailbags in and stop by. Read some of the fan mail that came in for you and other people at Adafruit. Lady Ada.
Yay.
Adafruit Jobs Board, the place to post your job online and your skills if you're a maker. Time travel, look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, and engineers. 3D printing, some 3D printing projects and more. Some Pi news, some new products. We're going to answer your question. We're going to have a trivia question. All that and
Giveaways.
More on Ask an Engineer.
Yay! Yay!
Yeah.
Everybody at home, cheer along. Yay!
Yay, hit the like button, subscribe.
It's another week where we are alive and able to broadcast.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start off. BTLE is bacon, tomato, lettuce, and
egg? That sounds pretty good. Bacon, tomato, lettuce, egg sandwich?
No, it's BTLE. That's Bluetooth Low Energy. We'll be showing a video soon. That gets you 10% off in the Adafruit store. All the way up to 11:59 p.m. tonight. That's what pays the bills here. That's why we've been able to do lots of content lately, and that's been working out. So on average, at least a video a day.
Sometimes 2 videos a day.
Sometimes more than that. So some of the things, if you place an order, $200 or more, you get free UPS ground in the continental US, half size. Perma Proto is included with that.
Wow.
For folks in parts of New York City, on checkout, if it's before 11 a.m., there is same-day shipping available.
Yes, you'll see it on checkout, and it'll be great. Somebody will courier it over to you. Very popular with like artists, students, agencies, people who have something that they really need to get done and they really need it by tomorrow. This is, they can order at night and they get it later on that day, or order in the morning and they'll get it that same day as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. And then you are watching Ask an Engineer, 8 p.m. every Wednesday. And
you may have just previously watched our show and tell. That was at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep. And other bits of programming that we have, Tony D's Desk. We've been doing that on like Tuesdays and Fridays. And then Desk of Lady Ada, that's on Tuesdays and also Thursdays sometimes, and then the weekends.
No, I actually did every day except for Tuesday and of course Wednesday. So I did like a week and a half in a row.
Yeah.
It was pretty epic.
Okay, so let's get going with the show and tell. We do the show and tell every single week.
Yeah.
And this is where people show their projects and things that they're working on. And here you go.
Okay, I'm going to talk about
on the show this week.
I'm going to talk about show and tell. Start off with Tony DeCola. Who's from Adafruit Northwest. And first off, he showed his new camera. He got this like awesome, I think it's like a Nikon camera with HDMI output. And like, he's just like live, like he is there and really intense. And he also has been doing a lot of live streams. He did a live stream last Friday on using OSMC with the Raspberry Pi 3. So that's a like a video streaming network box. I think it's related to Kodi and RaspBMC, but I don't know the full genera tree of existence. But he said he got actually really good performance on a Pi 3, and he was able to view Blu-ray. He was able to rip and then view Blu-ray videos on a Pi 3. He was able to decode them. Like, this was pretty cool. So you can actually do like full video streaming direct. And the OSMC people even showed up and gave some hints and tips. He also did a video yesterday about PyMata, porting Fermata to Circuit Playground, and he showed like Python programming for a couple hours and how to like parse data around and do UART stuff. So very interesting, very in-depth live streams. Noah and Pedro have a project they built this week. It's also a project that they're working on with Tony D. It's a Facebook like mini box like button, because there's like usually just thumbs up on Facebook, and now they have like multiple different icons. So they made a box that you can customize the icon, and there's a trinket inside with a 7-segment counter, and every time you press the button, it increments the number by 1, and it stores in EEPROM. So if you lose power, you can plug it back in, and it will not lose its location. And it can be used for like scorekeeping or counting people or counting things, or just you want people to press a button if they like something. So check that out. That's a 3D Thursday project for this week. Phil B made an appearance, Paint Your Dragon. He's working on a demo for the CharliePlex LED matrix. It's our little matrices that we came out with last week that allows you to have PWN multiplex LEDs, very bright but very low power. And he has a little flame. So he took an animation, rastered it, converted it, and stored it in the memory of a Pro Trinket, and has that displaying this like beautiful flickering flame. And he's maybe going to work on a pendant. Lottie came in and still working on a combo breaker and is learning EagleCAD. Amos came by and showed off, I think it's his first time on the show and tell, has a custom number pad that he made with cherry switches and some aluminum and copper tape. It like looks really cool, and it's got these big buttons, and it's like very steampunk. And he used an Arduino micro and just connected one pin of each Arduino micro to each switch, and worked out really great. So that's a cool project, very useful. Stuff with Kirby. First off, he had a cool like 3D printed green dragon that was like had like joints and stuff. That was really cool. And he also made a Valentine's Day gift announcement box. I guess he's going on a cruise with his Valentine, and this box has a Raspberry Pi, an amplifier, and some buttons. And when you press the button, it speaks out how many days until this cruise. So it has a real-time clock inside of it, and it says like 208 days. Well, it's not 200, it's probably 34 days until time for the cruise. And also plays some boat sound effects. Michael designed, he's a PCB designer, and designed a new PCB for work. A new PCB for play, not for work. It's a 96 boards compatible robot controller. So if you have a Dragon board or a High-Key or any of the other 96 compatible boards, I actually never, we have one, but I've never played with the 96 boards. They're 1.8 logic, which I'm allergic to. I get hives when I 1.8 logic. And he's got open source hardware. It's got a switch mode power supply to power servos. It's got a PCA 9685 for 16 channel servo control. It's got an MPU 9250 for 9 DOF orientation. And I think also a 4-channel analog digital converter. So it's a cool board. You post up a link, you can download it. And then Philip came in, and he had the most cores. I mean, we actually had, we were just talking before the show, who's going to have the most cores on show and tell? Turns out it was Philip. He has 112 cores. He's got 4 parallella boards, and I guess each one has 8 cores, so it's 72 cores. And then he has 10 Raspberry Pi 2s as a cluster as well, and that's another 40 cores. So it's 112 cores total. He has them on a gigabit network. And he's doing natural language processing, and it's cool because it's like the parallel boards. It's like this big. It's like super dense computing, and he's going to probably like talk to aliens or something with so many cores. Okay. Anyways, that's a show and tell. It was awesome.
All participants on the show and tell got an as seen on the show and tell sticker. They just email us, and they do that, and they get a sticker. In order to get on the show and tell, all you need to do is go to google.com/plus Adafruit, and you'll see the post around 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can also go to our events page and just make sure that you put your name, say that you're going to be on the show and tell. We'll add you to the circle. We also post up the link, and just be ready to mute your mic and show off your project and our hackerspace, and try to keep it around 5 minutes or less, because we usually have a full house now.
It's busy.
Or virtual.
We have a lot of new people though, and it's kind of also we have a couple people from Adafruit, and this is actually what's neat. It's actually a time when I get to talk to remote people who do projects for Adafruit. Like, it's really neat to see them on video instead of just by email.
Hour. Okay. Next up, Hack the Mailbag.
Hack the Mailbag. I have a letter for you.
Every week at Adafruit, we have a all-company meeting called State of the Fruit. We read these emails, and we also read them here on Show and Tell. So hi, Lamore and all the team at Adafruit. I just wanted to send you guys a message and say I just love what you do. I've been a huge fan ever since I discovered Adafruit by chance around 2 years ago. I'll never miss your Show and Tell and Ask an Engineer shows every week. Maybe. I love to put together your kits and often source components from Adafruit for fun projects. I really have enjoyed making, and it just keeps getting better. Congratulations on building such an amazing company. Keep up the good work. Kind regards, David from Australia. Thank you, David.
Thank you, VK4Hacks. That's a really cool call sign.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's coincidence or a vanity sign, but I hope it's coincidence.
That's
pretty
just
cool.
his last name. Right?
VK4Hacks.
Yeah. Okay, Adafruit Jobs Board.
Would you like to exchange money for talent, or talent for money, or talent for goodwill because you're volunteering? Check out the Jobs Board. This is a free service that we provide for the maker community. You have a job, or you want a job, or you have a project, you want help, post it up.
Yeah. So this week on the Jobs Board, and also every job is approved by us, so there's no spammers, or recruiters, or anything weird like that. This week, this is lead technology instructor, 3D modeling and printing at Galileo Learning, multiple locations through California and Chicago in the US. They're now offering up a signing bonus.
Ooh.
So if you have a passion for working with and having an impact on kids, have a love for 3D printing, technology, or education that you can't wait to share, this might be the job for you. Imagine spending your summer as lead technology instructor in 3D modeling and printing, inspiring campers as they model custom prototypes using Tinkercad to produce them with world-class printers. So that is a job that's up there. So that's kind of neat. That's a job now. Teaching kids 3D printing.
If you like kids and you like 3D printing, this is great. I mean, like, they have 3D printing camp. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We just made like macrame. I mean, like, I love macrame, but
What's amazing in the maker world is I know people that absolutely love kids in 3D printing, and on the other side of the spectrum, they say, I absolutely can't stand kids in 3D printing. So you can...
Those people should not apply.
They should not apply for that job. So this is neat. Very cool, and check it out at adafruit.com/jobs. Okay. All right, so I put this in open source hardware news because we're an open source hardware company, and then I just put the news in this section. I'm probably going to redo this at some point, but this is just news around the world.
Well, so much of the stuff we do is open source hardware.
It is.
Yeah.
And so we have a bunch of different stuff this week. The first thing that I wanted to mention is BeagleBone, which is open source hardware, has the Google Summer of Code. Check out the blog post on our site. Just search for Summer of Code. And on March 14th, the Google Summer of Code program starts accepting applications for registered students to earn money by spending your summer break writing code and learning about open source development. So check it out. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And that's brought to you by beaglebone.org and Google Summer of Code.
That's great. I mean, like, if BeagleBone has an awesome Linux single board computer, you probably can build projects with it and use their online IDE and maybe make tutorials. If there's stuff that you are interested in doing anyways with open source hardware and Linux, this is a great opportunity to learn a lot and get paired up with some people who will teach you things.
Yeah.
Again, I'm quite jealous. I did not have this when I was a kid.
There's
was nothing
there's
like
no
this.
excuse to not try this out if you're a young person now, because there's so many resources available. It's not like, well, I don't have a modem or a computer. The access to these things is getting.
I was actually quite lucky because by the time I got to the end of high school, I applied for the MIT summer program. And MIT has like a high school summer program that I managed to apply and get into because I lived in Boston. But it's unusual. Like, who has access to going to Boston? This is all cyber. This is using the internet. 2016. You just GitHub it all now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm older. There wasn't even internet at one point. So there's no such thing. Not in use.
MIT had internet.
Not in use.
Log in as root, Mr. Root, and get free internet.
So next up in news.
Never got caught.
So this one, this is just news. This has happened to us. We have 100,000. I want to say friends on Twitter because I don't like.
They're not just followers.
Followers sounds weird. Friends on Twitter. Thank you so much. I think we're one of the first electronics companies to get to this number. And so instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm 100K followers," we just wanted to say 100,000 thank yous for.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
we post a lot of stuff. It's electronics and art and more. And we also have the links to all the broadcasts throughout the day.
It is fun. I really
yeah.
actually like, I'm logged into the Twitter and I like, when we tweet something, sometimes like, I didn't know that we blogged that, and I click through.
Yeah.
And the blog is like totally rocking out. Anyways.
So thank you so much, everyone. And one of the indicators and metrics that we have, and we like to keep track of stuff, is are there more people that want to tune into this Adafruit story on Twitter? And they do. So if you're on Twitter, just click the follow button on twitter.com/Adafruit and follow along. We make it fun. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the next thing is everyone's going to really like this.
fresh.
It's time for new Colin's Lab. This is Bluetooth Low Energy.
The new hotness.
And take it away, Colin.
You've heard of Bluetooth for connecting audio and other peripherals wirelessly. Bluetooth Low Energy is sort of the next generation of Bluetooth. And as the name implies, it uses a lot less power. Bluetooth Low Energy uses less energy by keeping things simple. Instead of maintaining a constant connection, the BLE protocol only sends data as needed, and it does so with very little overhead. This means it's great for periodic updates, like getting readings from a sensor, but it's not so great for streaming audio or video. For now, that's a job best left to classic Bluetooth or even better, Wi-Fi. Probably the biggest reason that BLE is so great for DIY is the fact that companies like Apple and Google have made it so easy for developers to use. Someone writing an app for iOS or Android can easily add in BLE support without needing any special certification or contending with any legal hurdles or anything like that. It's definitely a good thing. But you don't have to be an app developer to use BLE in your project.
The Bluefruit LE Connect app is a free download for iOS and Android that works as a multi-purpose tool when communicating with BLE devices. It includes a terminal-like interface for sending and receiving text, a controller mode that can send orientation, color, and control pad messages, and even a firmware updater for upgrading BLE peripherals wirelessly.
Well, that's all nice and everything, but how can you use it? Well, let's look at a few examples.
Here I have a temperature sensor and a BLE breakout board connected to an Arduino Uno. Once I've connected my phone to the BLE board, the code I have running on the Arduino gets a value from the sensor every 5 seconds and sends it back to my phone. So here, data is being sent out from the BLE peripheral device and is retrieved by the BLE central device, my phone. But data can, of course, move in the opposite direction as well. This little red rover uses a Feather microcontroller board with an integrated BLE module. The Feather uses a separate motor controller board to drive the 2 servo motors on the wheels. All of this is controlled using the Bluefruit app's control pad interface. Data is sent from my phone out to the rover every time I touch down on a button and every time I release it. Here I'm using another BLE Feather, but this time with an RGB LED matrix attached. Using the app's color picker, I can send a color value over to the board in RGB format. The Feather then writes this value to all of the LEDs.
Oh, and one more interesting way to use BLE is as a beacon. This allows a BLE device to work as a sort of proximity sensor, and I don't even have to find, choose, and connect to it beforehand.
When functioning as a beacon, my BLE Feather continually broadcasts what's called advertising data, containing a specific identifier string I wrote to it earlier. I also registered this string with the Beacon app called Locate, which is running on my phone. My phone will continually scan nearby BLE advertising data, and once it comes into range of the Feather, it'll find a match for that string and display a notification.
Oh, and in case you're wondering, Bluetooth, which is a relatively odd name, was named after Harald Bluetooth, a Viking king who united Denmark and Norway. Apparently, he knew how to use power efficiently as well. Well, I'm off to unite some devices myself, so go make something with BLE, and you'll be able to do stuff like this.
Right,
Colin's Lab.
that was awesome, Colin. We're going to be doing a live show, not out yet, don't ask, but it's going to be awesome with Colin. We're going to be talking about technology. We're going to do live streaming. Maybe we'll show off some cool demos.
No.
Stay tuned. We'll let you know when it's ready. It'll be live. So
And then next up, we do have a new thing that we're doing soon. And let me see how we're doing on time.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that we have a video game, Moe's Resistance. And I wanted to play the trailer for that, and then also we're doing something new with one of the characters. So let me play that, and then we'll go to...
This is Moe. Moe. There he is. Moe is a resistor who needs your help to complete circuits.
No, I don't.
Actually, yes. Yes, you do.
I do?
You can't change your resistance on your own, can you?
I guess I could use a little help.
Right then. Cue the iPad. Set Moe's resistance to the correct values to complete each circuit. But be careful. An incorrect value will unleash the dreaded blue smoke monster. Trust me, you don't want to do that. Or play with a friend as you race against time in versus mode.
Excellent.
Nice work, Adabot. Now, it's your turn to set Moe's resistance.
Right on.
Okay, so one of the characters from Moe's Resistance is Sparky the Blue Smoke Monster. And Sparky has been an entity that we've had. We have a sticker. And the history of blue smoke is when you mess up an electronics project or
you learn something
or
about
you learn
electronics. Like you can't put it in backwards.
Yeah, so blue smoke comes out. And then when we were making up characters for learning electronics and trying to encourage people that, mistakes are okay, there are opportunities to learn, we came up with Sparky the Blue Smoke Monster. That's the 555 timer
from Evil Mad Scientist.
From Evil Mad Scientist.
Yeah.
That's a big stool.
No, it's like this big.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty big Sparky, the Blue Smoke Monster. So we came up with Sparky, and when an electronics project doesn't go the way you expect, and maybe you just need to be reminded to add a certain component or something. So we have a little video that we made. This is probably going to be something that we do more often, but this was the first test. We did it on Friday night, and here is the debut of Sparky, the Blue Smoke Monster.
Capacitor. Capacitor. You know you need. You need a capacitor. Capacitor.
Okay, so we're gonna have.
That was like 2 in the morning when we shut that in. That was awesome.
There was a time zone change. It may have been even later.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's daylight.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're working on that. So you'll see that.
So that's cool. So there's actually, did you post the photo of you in the green suit?
I hope not.
Okay.
But probably did.
There's
Okay.
a green suit.
Yeah, I have to wear a full
Is it
body
green? Yeah, we have
suit
a
for
green
that.
screen.
So, anyways,
It's kind of cool.
more news. Hackaday has the new Hackaday prize. You were a judge for 2 years in a row,
Zong.
so you're done. You don't have to judge anymore.
I
They have a whole
judged
new-
hundreds of projects.
No, but they
were good.
They have a whole new
Fresh.
group of judges. That
Yep.
was actually one of the suggestions I think a couple of people made. Get judges in and then have them make suggestions or have a new crew. So
They suggest Star. Who else I suggested?
Micah's in there.
Micah,
yeah, this is
yeah,
good. Evil
so-
Mad Scientist Lab.
Yay.
So anyways, build something that matters. I like this. I started Hackaday a million years ago, so to see the site growing and doing more interesting things is always awesome because I would like it to be good. I'm glad it didn't turn into a zombie spam site. So
Nokia.
yeah, so so anyways, check it out and you can win. There's a ton of prizes. They have over $300,000 in prizes.
There's
So-
just tons of prizes, and there's all sorts of like new, unique rules. It reminds me a little bit of, it's like I used to play like RPGs, and they were really simple. Like You kill the kobold, you get like 5 experience points and 10 gold, and then eventually there was like class systems, and like you could like create different weapons by like getting materials and like smithing them. That's what's going on with this Hackaday prize. There's like, you can get like this money and then you spend it and then you vote and then you can get your friends to vote in, you can work together and then you can compete. So it's gotten a lot more interesting and a lot more dynamic and fun. So check it out. There's a lot of different categories and different ways to win, and a lot of money is available.
And the drone is still going on. That's our contest. So if you want to enter your drone video or a drone video that you know about, this is Adafruit's Drone Film Festival. It celebrates all the videos taken from drones. It's open to anyone in the US, and any type of amazing drone video, from technology to storytelling to cinematography. And we have a cool group of judges. Check it out. And then Arduino news this week. Speaking of more open source hardware, Arduino Day is almost here. It's going to be April 2nd. And we're going to have a bunch of broadcasts and more. Just check out arduino.cc and you'll be able to see events in your area.
Wow, I remember 1 year ago Arduino Day, because that's when...
It was pretty close to, let's see, we weren't shipping...
But we were manufacturing.
Yeah, we weren't shipping.
Didn't tell anybody.
We weren't shipping Arduinos yet.
But they were being made. So we were manufacturing Arduinos, but it was a secret. But now I can tell it's secret because we released them a few months later.
In the USA. So
I think we're making them
look for Arduino.cc boards made in New York City, made by us in Adafruit, New York. So next up, Adafruit Learning System. What's new on the Learning System this week?
Wow, we have so many tutorials that are awesome and new. First up, we have the automatic Twitch on air sign. Okay, see the sign? See how it's lit? I didn't turn that on. It's automatic. Whenever we are live streaming on Twitch, it automatically turned on. Isn't that amazing? You can use an ESP8266 or a at-Wink M0 board. I actually did this as a stream, and then I couldn't get SSL working on the ESP8266, but then the person who maintains the Arduino library showed up and said, oh, hey, like the timeout, we had to change it, and here's how you do it. And so you can use either Wi-Fi boards, and it's just powered up, and then whenever we're streaming on Adafruit, it just says on air. It's a pretty cool project. Great for if you have a favorite streamer that you want to know when they're streaming, or you're a streamer and you want to have a sign so people don't disturb you. Mom, don't come in, I'm streaming. And then we also had a project from John Wall, which is the Bluefruit controlled Macetech RGB LED shades. Just picked up a pair of these RGB LED shades, and you got to like take it to 11. Like you're already at 10, but you want to have like one more. Add Bluetooth Low Energy, and then you can control the displays and effects and what programs are running using your phone. So you can use a Bluefruit Feather for that. And we also had a 3D Thursday project for Noah and Pedro. We're going to be showing the video. The Trinket React counter will show that. And then also I did a video, and then I did a stream on Monday on how to sign Windows drivers and executables. I am like spending like full days learning about things that I've always kind of meant to learn and like never really got around to learning, but I am now. So Windows, didn't used to be that you needed signed drivers, but as of 7, it complains if you don't have signed drivers. In Windows 8, you really do need to have signed drivers, or it basically won't let you install the driver. And so even if you're using the built-in USB CDC drivers that they give you are using a 32.4, an M0, or a PIC, and it emulates a CDC device, it's a USB serial device, even though it doesn't have a kernel mode driver DLL or whatever that comes with it, you still have to have a signed INF file that has the USB VAD PAD, and it tells it USB sir.sys or whatever is the driver. And so I show you basically how you can buy a certificate. You only have to buy one, and you can sign as much code as you want, and you can sign drivers, and you can sign executables, and that way when you double click it, it doesn't say like unknown or unverified. It'll say this software comes from Adafruit, and if you wanted to upload it to like some app store or something, you'll probably need to have it signed as well. So I just went through and I took screenshots of the entire step-by-step process. Isn't too bad, but you do have to download about 5 gigs of Windows SDK. So check that out, and also maybe I'll link the stream in as well so people can watch that.
Okay. All right, time travel. Look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers. We also like to look back in some old Adafruit news. And this is it. Guess what happened back in 2011? Wired cover.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was 2011.
Yeah, Corey
So
posted that.
5 years ago.
Yeah. It's been 5 years.
Yeah,
Yes, that was
5 years ago.
that was before we moved into this space.
Yeah,
quite a bit before
we were
too.
in a tiny apartment, and Adafruit was a lot smaller. And one of the things that we did right afterwards is we went to the newsstand, and boy, times haven't changed for a lot of things. This is Rolling Stone with Snooki. Remember Snooki? Sports Illustrated, and you know the magazines out there. They are what they.
Robert Pattinson is pretty cool though. I mean, like he's cute.
Well, we always say we are what we celebrate, and so
He's an alligator. I don't know what the alligator's about.
go to your newsstand and take a look at what's on the cover, and what are we saying as a society is important to us. And there's been progress. More progress probably needs to be made. So if we want to see lots of scientists and engineers, maybe we can make them heroes. I think you're a hero. It was neat to see you on the newsstands. That was cool.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, we went and we bought a bunch of copies from the Barnes and Noble nearby, because Wired was like, they sent us like 1 or 2 copies, but then we wanted to give them away to
Yeah.
people. So yeah, that was exciting. That was intense. Chris Anderson, he tweeted, he said it was one of his proudest moments.
Yep. Okay. 3D printing. We got a few things this week. First up, this is the 3D printed like button.
Yep, just talked about it. Let's see it.
Hey, what's up everybody? Noah here for Adafruit. So Facebook recently added reactions to the like button feature. These are some pretty cute emojis. A lot of people seem to like it. Some folks think it's overdue, and others are still hoping for that dislike button. With all the media coverage hyping this up, this got us thinking, why not make a physical like button? This is the physical like button. You press the button and the number counter gets displayed on the LED screen. I know this looks a lot like a novelty product, but this can actually be used for all sorts of useful things. Let's say you want to keep track of attendees at an event, or keep track of that score for a game, or really anything else that needs a tally counter. Now the really cool thing about this is that you can build your own with just a few components and a 3D printed case. To make your own, you'll just need a couple parts, an Adafruit trinket, a 7-segment LED display, and an arcade button. You're also going to need some handy tools like a soldering iron and access to a 3D printer. Now, if you don't have access to the 3D printer, definitely check out a service like 3dhubs.com and they'll ship it out to you. First, we'll start off with uploading the sketch to the Adafruit trinket using the Arduino IDE. You'll need a couple of libraries and the Adafruit AVR hardware. Definitely recommend referencing our circuit diagram to wire up the components. You can check out our full tutorial linked below at the Adafruit Learning System. Now we really like these arcade buttons because they have this low profile and they're pretty easy to take apart. Now to make it glow, we fitted an LED sequin to some 3D printed parts and replaced the stock cover with a little cute emoji heart. We also made a thumbs up version, and that's more just to sort of match that Facebook theme, but this can be any emoji that you want. Now the whole thing is powered through this micro USB cable, but you can easily upgrade this with a battery pack or a lithium polymer battery to make it portable. The design files and the Arduino code are totally open source, so you're free to customize this and make it fit whatever project ideas you might have. That's it for this one, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this project, be sure to hit that virtual like button. And if you want to see more project ideas, check out all of our playlists. They're linked all over the place. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more 3D printing projects from Adafruit. But until next time, I will see you guys later. Look how many likes we have. Fake likes. Hey, what's up?
But wait, there's more. We've been doing some 360 videos. Noah and Pedro have the same one that I'm using right now. In fact, right now there is a Hug VR broadcast. So if you go to hugvr/Adafruit right now during this show that's live, you'll be able to see inside part of the Adafruit factory. But here is a 360 video of 3D printing. was a cool 360 video. What's interesting is, so that one we had to show the 360 video. So if you watch the original one on YouTube,
You can scroll around.
You can use your phone too, and you can look around.
Do you use like your Google Cardboard?
You can.
And you can.
Yeah, you can use
So
like
you
an
can be
Oculus.
in the 3D printer.
Yeah, and then but this is a view of that, so it's a trick. So you
Right.
can see it in 2D.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
2D of a 3D of a 2D of a 3D.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So tomorrow's 3D Hangouts. No, on Patreon. Check it out.
New 3D
Pi
printing
News.
project. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pi News. This week is a couple of things. One is Tony D's show. So we talked about that in the beginning of Ask an Engineer.
Yeah.
But he had two Pi related things. This was the Pi 3 and the Open Source Media Center, and then the Pi with Bluetooth.
Yes.
And this is just a screenshot from this. This is how good the OM, the OSMC looks.
So he's like just doing
There was like
video.
DVD rips, Blu-ray rips. So it was really neat. And this is one of the cool shows that we do each week. And then the other one, the other thing I want to talk about for Pi Day is this is the tutorial you just did.
Yeah, this is a new tutorial. I just wrapped it up like a few minutes before the show. This tutorial is about how to program a microcontroller using OpenOCD on a Raspberry Pi with native GPIO bit banging. What that means is basically, normally if you have a microcontroller, like especially an ARM Cortex microcontroller, you would need to use a J-Link or an ST-Link to control it, like a dongle that connects to your computer, like Windows, Mac, or Linux, and you would use the software to program it. But there's OpenOCD is an open source software that can control and program a large number of the most popular chips on the market, because each one has its own like special commands that are required to like erase or set the fuses or whatever. And we've been using J-Links and ST-Links in-house to program chips, but they can be a little bit flakier, they can be really expensive. Like J-Links are very pricey, so if you want to set up a programmer for 10 of them, it's like $7,000, it adds up really fast. And for the ST-Links, they're okay, but they're a little flaky. Also, what if you want to program more than one chip at a time? Anyways, for reasons that are unique to me, I wanted to show how to use a Raspberry Pi and use the GPIO pins, so like pin 18, 22, and 24. You connect those up to the SWD data and clock and reset lines, and then you can run OpenOCD and it will program the chip natively. It's very, very fast, and you have a lot of control over it, so you don't have to worry about like this USB adapter, whether it's got the latest firmware or not. You're basically talking directly to the chip, and it makes for very fast chip programming. Also, a lot of people have a Raspberry Pi handy. If you need to program some unique chip and you don't have the special programmer for it, it might be supported by OpenOCD, you can just program it directly. So this is another tool that we're going to be using in-house. I thought other engineers might find it handy. So basically a tutorial going through the process.
Okay, and that's the news and more this week. Thank you, Lady Ada. Before we get going into new products, BTLE is the code, 10% off in the Adafruit store, all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's it. Those are
What did you
words.
just
Words coming out is one big word. Okay, new product. New.
New. That's not
All
really
right.
a song. That was
Okay.
me just saying new a bunch of
Okay.
times. It's new products. We
Yeah, go for it.
we have some fun stuff today. Not like crazy like last week was insane. This week we're going to take it chill. Let's roll in with some headers.
Okay, got headers.
These are short headers. We have these for the Feather headers. We have a special pack, but if you would like to use these in general for your projects, we have a 5-pack of I think like 36 or 40 pins, and these are a little bit shorter than normal headers. So I thought maybe I'd show this on the overhead.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, hold on. I'm going to grab from over here. I'm going to grab maybe some
Okay.
female header.
I'll just keep showing
Yeah, just
photos
hang
of
out.
these headers.
Okay. So, hey. Okay, I'm back. So this is a normal header. So let me zoom in. Okay, so this is a normal header, and the body is I think like 8.5 millimeters high, maybe 8 millimeters, and this one is about 3 millimeters. I think this is 8 and this is 5, so it's not half, but it's close to half as tall. And if you ever really need something to be very close together, this is what you'd use. I don't know if they get any shorter than this, but I'm getting maybe some Swiss pins, and those are pretty short as well. But these are inexpensive in comparison. They're basically just like these normal headers, but they're extra short. And with these, we also have the short mail headers as well. So when you plug these together, they sit perfectly in and they're exactly the right height. You can use normal header if you like, but I mean, you can really see like this significantly longer. So if you try to plug these headers into a female header, it's because it's not in a PCB. It would stick up about this much, like, because it would hit the bottom of the PCB. Like if you can see, it goes through. So you would actually end up being like this. So you'd get like about a millimeter or so gap, which maybe you don't like. You want it to be extra short. So there you go, short headers, and you don't have to clip them. They just plug in and they work perfectly. So these are very handy if you have your development board and you want it to be very low profile. Hey, another 1/10 of an inch.
Okay, and then do you want to show the other ones?
Yeah, it's just a photo of the other one. So yeah, these are the short male headers, and yeah, we have the short female headers.
All right,
I mean,
next up.
handy.
Relay.
This is a relay shield thingy for the particle photon and particle core. It'll probably work with the electron as well, although I don't have an electron to test it with. You can switch, I think it's up to 10 amps and up to 250 volts DC or AC, so basically mains power. Be very, 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 very careful, of course. I made a cord here by slicing an extension cable in half, so you can plug in the two wires into the normally open and common, and then there's a little red LED. It's shining off of the relay. It looks like the relay is lit up. It's actually an LED right below it that will let you know when the relay is activated. So if you want to remote control mains mains powered stuff, or even if you just want to have isolation for something that you're controlling, for example, here's a lamp. You plug into the extension cord. You could turn the lamp on and off. You can control appliances or power tools or I don't know, anything that plugs into the wall, really, or television. And you can do it over the internet using the particle cloud. So I think this is a handy tool. Just, of course, I want to remind you, we don't carry a lot of relay products on purpose, so be careful when using these. Use a lot of caution. Very easy to accidentally brush your hand against it and get a little bit of a jolt. Don't do that.
Okay. Next up, the star of the show, besides you tonight, is one of these products.
Yeah, we have, this is kind of a respin of the at-Wink 1500 boards that we have made before, but the previous version had onboard antenna. This version, the module itself has a UFL connector instead, and so you can connect an antenna.
Okay.
Go to the
Yeah.
So there's no onboard antenna. You can't use it as is. You have to get an antenna. You can use one of these small antennas or a gigantic stick antenna or a cantenna, or apparently if you get expert class or I think expert class ham radio license, you can do like 50 watts or something. I don't know, ridiculous. You can do on 2.4 gigahertz. Anyways, you can connect an external antenna. It might be handy if you have a box and you want to have the antenna on the outside. So you would have a UFL to SMA adapter, and then you'd panel mount the antenna on the outside. Basically, it's exactly the same firmware, the same code, same everything, just the antenna is slightly different. However, the FCC ID is matched to a 2 dBi antenna. So if you're selling this product and you're using a different antenna, you may need to have some recertifications done. I don't know the details of that. Can you show that it's the same dBi as the antenna, or like what specifically it is? But there is an antenna, I think, that Microchip manufacturers, that is the one that's used with this module, and check the data sheet. They have a list of which antenna was used for FCC certification for this module. But other than that, like if you're using it for hobbyist uses, you don't have to worry about that too much. And this is a great little module, has SSL, you can upload certificates to it, works perfect with the Arduino Zero, and works pretty well with the Arduino Uno as well.
All right, but wait, there's more.
No, wait, there's more. We also have this update of a new version of the Feather at-Wink M0 with the Wi-Fi module. So this is a Wi-Fi Feather M0. So you get a Cortex M0 processor for 48 megahertz. It's got like 10 analog digital converters, tons of interrupts, tons of timers, PWMs, I2C, hardware, SIRCOMs. You can have like 5 I2C ports if you, for some reason, wanted 5 individual I2C ports or UARTs or whatever. Really awesome processor. Paired it with the at-Wink, which is the code for it was natively written for this processor. So like they work really, really well. And this is extremely fast, really good quality Wi-Fi plus chip pair. It's actually what I use for this on-air sign. I mean, it's been running now for a week, and I haven't paracycled it. It's just been sitting here, and it just turns on and off whenever. It's very reliable in its functionality. A big upgrade to other Wi-Fi modules we've used, especially with the SSL built in, and it works like flawlessly. Every time I need to connect to an SSL server, it just works.
Okay. Alrighty.
Oh yeah, you also need an antenna for this, of course.
Yeah.
So watch that. It doesn't come with one.
So people talk about the Internet of Things, but you're building the Internet of Things.
This is it. We are on air. I don't know if people know that.
Yeah, this is, and we did a video about
And we
this
were on
project.
air doing an on-air sign. It was very meta.
Yeah. Okay, and with that, that is the new products lady, Ada. Good work.
Yay! Thanks. That was some fun news.
Yeah.
We'll have some more noops next week.
Okay, don't forget, code is BTLE. That gets you off, it gets 10% off all the way up till 11:59 p.m.
Everything,
Eastern
including the
Standard
new
Time
products.
today. Yeah.
Everything except the software and
whatever's in
gift
stock and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump right into the questions. Post up your questions. We will speed round them the best we can, and we'll get to
Okay.
as many as possible.
Yeah.
And let's
Ask
go.
your questions.
All right, there was some previous ones, but I'm hoping someone will
Okay.
post them up again. Okay, this one. I'm looking for some powerful LEDs to make my own strobe light. Does Adafruit have anything like that?
We do have, for white LEDs, I think we have a 1 watt white LED that's pretty freaking bright. And you, of course, because it's an LED, you can strobe it as fast as you want. You don't have to worry about like a xenon bulb where you would like have to charge up like a gigantic capacitor and then dump the charge, or like have a coil. You just need a really good transistor and a good power supply. We also have, I think, some 5 watt RGB LEDs. So those aren't going to be white, they're RGB. And if you have all RGB on, it's kind of whitish. But if you don't mind strobing a different color, or if it's like slightly tinted color light, 5 watts is pretty bright. It will actually like temporarily blind you if you look at it. So don't do what I did, which was look at it when I powered it up.
Okay, next up. Let's see. All right.
Oh, is this one?
Yeah, I'm getting to this one.
Okay.
Question, the Pi 3 is uprated to 2.5 amps. Should Pi makers be concerned by EMI from the switching regulator interfering with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth? At what power does the EMI start causing trouble?
That's a really good question. And it depends a little bit on, of course, the sensitivity of the chip and how close your power supply is. And yeah, like how much EMI is coming out of the power supply. So the power supplies that you get can have certifications, and the certifications set a limit. And they are switching power supplies. We'll have some noise. The power supplies we have a 6-foot cord. So, I mean, I wouldn't put the power supply like on top of the Wi-Fi. Like any chunk of metal near the antenna is going to affect it. But as long as it's far away, the EMI radiated from the wall adapter shouldn't really be affecting the Wi-Fi. And also you have a switching regulator on the Pi board itself that's also switching up to 2 amps, maybe. I guess, I don't know. They said it was upgraded. I don't know the part number. So you'd have to think about it. There's lots of power supplies that could be causing radiation. But I think the way they designed it, they pulled the antenna and the power supply on opposite sides of the board. I think you're pretty much good to go. I mean, you're not going to have the highest, bestest quality Wi-Fi. But for built-in Wi-Fi, it does seem to work pretty well.
Okay. Next question.
Okay, that's tons of questions.
Yeah, well, no, like one person just asked the same thing like 5 times.
Oh.
So, that's how it goes. Okay, any plans to release Circuit Playground soon? Yeah, the board.
Very soon.
Yep.
PCBs have shipped. It's going to take me 2 weeks to get testers and assembly and schedule time on the machines. But we will have the developer edition. It is coming.
Okay,
But
next
I
up.
don't have an exact date.
I have the ESP8266 breakout board, temp and humidity of my Hydro Garden every 5 seconds, but it no longer keeps responding. I have to hit reset about every 3 days. Do you know why? And what's a good rate send and record data like this? Every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, etc.
Yeah, I think how often to store data. I think more than 5 or 10 minutes. Your temperature and humidity isn't going to change that often. So I think every 5 to 10 minutes, even 15 minutes or half an hour or an hour is plenty. I would definitely do it more than once. I would do it like about once an hour at the most, because that way you'll get 24 readings a day. And why your ESP is hanging, I don't know. It could be a power supply issue, make sure you have enough power. You might also want to force the ESP to reset itself. So, you can basically force it to do a watchdog reset, and that will kind of make sure that you do a hard reset, you kind of clear all the memory out, and start from scratch. It's very common when people have long-term projects sitting out there that they will have a watchdog timer, and they might even purposefully reset themselves to get into a clean state. So that's the suggestion I always have for people. People are like, I run one loop for like 20 days. And I'm like, whoa, no, that's not how you usually do. You usually do a shutdown, just like you do with your laptop or computer. You shut down once in a while just to have it install updates or whatever, and then start fresh and all your memory is clean.
Okay,
and
can
not
I
crashing.
program an Atmega 328 on an Arduino and put the Atmega on a breadboard and the electronic?
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of tutorials on how to program an Atmega 328 with an Arduino bootloader using an Arduino. Using Arduino ISP. I think we might even have a tutorial, but just Google for Arduino ISP bootloader and you'll get like 20,000 hits.
Okay. Next up, can the PWM Featherwing handle 3-watt RGB LED directly without extra components?
No, don't do it. You will release Sparky the blue smoke monster if you try. Can we get a? Okay.
Capacitor.
All right.
Thank you. Although you don't need a capacitor. In this case, what you need is a power transistor. So use a power MOSFET.
You know what you need?
Power transistor. Like you hear it in the back and think, what? It's like 2 in the morning. I'm like, leave me alone. You need a power transistor, and you would feed the PWM signal into that power transistor that can handle an amp or so, and then use that to toggle the LED on and off. There's a resistor in line with, I mean, you can, I probably won't actually release blue smoke because it's current limited, but you will like barely get any light.
Okay. Next up, I can answer this one. Availability of the Feather Hazan Pi 3. Pi 3, as soon as they come in stock, they get sold pretty fast, so just sign up. We'll eventually have more. And then for the Feather Huzzah, again, those are selling really fast. Just sign up.
They're going fast.
Just sign up, and we don't spam, so when you sign up sometimes, you'll get a notification and it'll be out of stock, so just sign up again.
Yeah, we do our best. I mean, we're not hoarding any.
Yeah,
we just have a
we
lot
like
of
selling stuff.
Sometimes people come in and they just order 200 or something, and then it takes us a day or two to refill the stock. We're working hard.
Is any old SMD LED sufficient for making grow lights? I don't know. There's probably
know.
lots of opinions online. What's best?
No, I think you need a certain like frequency, like the wavelength of the light matters. So you probably have to get like a UV lamp or something, I'd imagine. Like for sunlight, it has to be like a wide band UV or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about
I'm pretty
lights.
sure there's an entire internet community
There is a
devoted
sure.
to.
There's like 8,000 Reddits.
Okay, if you want to, I can help answer this one. Should you get a kit or parts to build a starter drone? So here's the thing. I think that it really depends on what you want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you build a kit, it takes a lot more time, but you have experience with all of that stuff, and you probably will need to fix it, and you know more about it.
Oh yeah.
If you just get, like a finished one, like a flying iPod or something, then the experience you're going to get is just flying. So it really depends on what you want to get out of it. So that's what I'd say.
Yep.
Like it's not which one's better, it's what do you want to get out of it. Okay. Next up. If you want mono sound out from the 3.7 watt max 98 306 amp and disconnect the second terminal, will available power be doubled?
No, that actually isn't how it works. The max wattage, which is like 3.7 watts or something, which is like 10% THD, 5.5 volts or whatever, is per channel, and it's because of the linearity of the amplifier. Like it's Class D, so it chops up the signal but doesn't boost it. There's no inductors. So it's not that it's heat, it's not thermal or heat or channel based. Like, if you only have one channel, you can get twice as much power, and you can't connect them two together, by the way. You can't double the output. It doesn't work with bridge-tied loads. The limit of that, how many watts you can get, is because of the 5 volts output. If you want more power, check out like the Max 9744, which is 20 watts out. You can get 5 to 12 volts, but of course you have to get up to 12 volts to get the 20 watts, right? Like the voltage has to increase, and that's why if you want like a 100 watt stereo system, you need like 48 volts. Like you just need to keep increasing that voltage to, because this volt divided by ohms equals, volt times volt divided by ohms is the power, or whatever, V equals IR, V times I equals power, will give you the watts, and it's limited by V and by R.
Okay, next up. Hey, Chris Corrigan, haven't seen you in a while. Good.
Whoa,
Hello,
hey, Chris
welcome back.
Corrigan, hey,
Howdy.
hey,
My question is, I need to monitor a 72-volt battery, but the breakout boards that we sell don't go that high. What do you think about using a classic voltage divider to drop the input by a third to 24 volts, and then monitoring with the INA 219 breakout, understanding that you'll have to do some math and extrapolate the output based on the ratio?
That will only monitor the voltage. You can't actually have current going through it, because if you did, it would affect the voltage divider. So if you want to monitor a 72 volt, you could actually just divide by, like, have a really big resistor divider, like 1K and 100K resistor, to, or whatever value you have to do to get it down to about 0 to 3 volts, so divide by 20. And then, so like 1 and 25 volt, 25K. And then give yourself an extra room in case the voltage drifts high, maybe up to like 80 volts or so. And then put that into an Arduino. You don't need an INA 219 because you won't be able to measure the current anyways.
Okay, so we got a few more minutes.
Okay.
Talk fast.
Speed rounding it.
Okay, next up. Are you working on a 6 low pan support for the future SAM R21 Featherboard?
Dude, I don't even have it up and running.
Okay, so that's a no so far. Okay.
Nothing's happened yet.
All right. Next up, why do some people use SBCs like the Raspberry Pi instead of just using a microcontroller? SBCs.
That's the question. Like, let's say you want
SBCs,
to, like the project that somebody showed on Show and Tell. They have a box where, you know, you press a button and it counts how many days since something occurred and speaks it out. Like, you know, 512 days since, you know, your last accident or whatever. Doing something like that on a microcontroller is very difficult. You need to have a microcontroller, an RTC, some sound audio generation that can do speech output. On a Raspberry Pi, that's really easy. Like, there's just use Festival and just say, speak this words, and it just speaks it. You have a lot more power. If you want to play little videos on a display, that's something a microcontroller can't do. Audio effects. If you want to do stuff with APIs that are like internet protocols that are more complicated than a microcontroller can handle, like we have a project now, we're parsing some XML. That can be a real pain to do on a microcontroller. Even like a really good, you know, Cortex M4 with like a mega flash, it's still a pain to do XML parsing or HTML stuff. You just don't have that much RAM, you don't have file systems, you don't have gigabytes of tools that you can use. So there's some projects that work great with a single board computer and some work great with a microcontroller.
Okay, next up, are all the BLE apps devices interchangeable, or are some devices specific to the respective apps and vice versa?
All of our Bluefruit devices will work with our Bluefruit Connect, but you can't like take a punch-through design board and use it with our Bluefruit Connect app. It uses a different identifier code. You could probably reprogram ours to work with theirs, but like, I don't know what the protocol they're using behind the scenes. So pretty much if you have, we have a tutorial on like sniffing BLE, and you can use a Raspberry Pi to kind of connect to devices and like fake the connection to, and like if you want to, for example, control a Bluetooth light bulb, you can connect to that Bluetooth light bulb and pretend like you're the app by sniffing the connection. But yeah, it's like each one is going to be its own thing.
Okay.
It's going to be its own thing.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to try to get through more of these. This person has this small transformer, doesn't know which side is primary or secondary. One side has 2 yellow wires and the other had 2 red wires and no markings. How do I find out?
That's the easiest thing in the world to find out.
Someone says yellow wire is primary.
You put an AC signal in and you measure the voltage. I mean, if it's a big transformer, yeah, I mean, you can just wire it up to power. I mean, it's not going to harm it. I've never heard of a transformer being harmed by the voltage range if you put 120 on the other side. But yeah, there might be a color coding. You might also look at which wires are thicker. I don't know if that would help. But yeah, I mean, also it depends. If it's an isolation transformer, you're going to get 1-to-1. But yeah, you don't have to also connect it to mains. You can generate an AC signal with just a microcontroller and or whatever and generate it. Maybe you put some transistors to give it a little bit more current capability. And then just measure the input, measure the output on your oscilloscope and just see what you get.
Okay, does someone need to use Blues to use Bluetooth on the Pi 3?
Oh yeah, you do.
Okay.
And that's the last we saw of him.
Okay, got any tips for hooking a wireless keyboard to a Raspberry Pi? I got the Logitech K4 Plus, but it's not working. Also tried a wireless keyboard with no luck.
Wired keyboards should just work with a Pi 3, so that's unusual. But you know what? There are some USB keyboard chipsets that don't work with Linux. So what you want to do is just find out, it's not whether it works with a Pi 3, it's whether it works with Linux at all. So you'll have to research that. Linux, it's awesome. But yeah, there are some chips that work, like they're hacky and they work with Windows or Mac, but they don't work with Linux, don't have Linux support. Very rare, but I've seen it.
Okay. Are we selling an on-air kit, a kit for the on-air sign? Not yet.
We don't have a kit for it, but we have all the parts in the store, and we have a link to where you can get the on-air sign.
Okay. Is there a safe way to power the particle relay for the upcoming Feather relay from mains? My hope is to build a DIY Wi-Fi light switch.
There's no just plug in mains. You should use a wall adapter for that.
Okay. Do we have any sort of electronic controlled gas valves that can be opened using the Pi or Arduino? Nope.
Gases. Well, we have the one brass hydraulic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good enough for air.
I don't believe so. We were asked about this.
It's for water.
Yeah.
It's meant for like garden projects.
Yeah. Okay. I'll explain how the Pi Zero works because I'm working on the FAQ. So we have Pi Zeros that we put in stock, and we also have Pi Zero packs. And the zeros usually go really fast, and the packs are available. So if there's any...
And like when we get the zeros in, we divide them up so that we make some packs, and then we have some raw zeros. And we don't it's not like we sit there and we take them in and out. Like we pre-make 50 kits, and we put in 50 kits, and we put in 50 zeros. And then
we do the best we can because some people want packs and some people want zeros. We have a limit of one per customer because online, if you go to eBay or something, people are selling Pi Zeros for $40 or something.
Well, that's ridiculous. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But anyways, you can also go to Micro Center. You have to drive there. They don't do it online. You can only buy it in person, and it's limited one per customer.
Yeah.
So that's the Pi supply that we
sold hundreds. We actually sold hundreds. We've sold
thousands,
if not 10,000 by now. Pi Zeros. So somebody's buying them.
Okay. How do you program that megas in our kits? I think we have a couple.
We have a tutorial about it.
It's
called Standalone AVR Programming. You can see a photo of me with straightened hair. Pink though.
Can you run your own Adafruit IO MQTT server? No, not yet. Maybe one day, but we're still in beta, and we're probably going to be in beta for a while. People are starting to rely on the service. So.
You can run your own generic MQTT server. Adafruit IO is basically an MQTT broker, and it's Mosquito. I can't remember the name of it, but it's in the documents about Adafruit IO. It actually says what Mosca. Mosca is the name of the broker, so we run Mosca, and then we just have the dashboard. If you don't need the dashboard, if you just want to, or if you want to make your own dashboard, you can just run your own broker. Go for it. There's tutorials on how to do it. Take a Raspberry Pi, install Mosca on it, or any of the other MQTT brokers, and you're good to go.
All right. As I wrap up some stuff, what's your favorite programming languages?
My favorite programming languages right now, I'm actually really liking Python. I know it's not a modern language, but I use it all the time to make testers and stuff. And I do a lot of stuff in C++. And once in a while, I'd like to do assembly when I really need to get in there and just twiddle those bits at the exact right time. But I still just like C and C++ a lot, Python. I used to like Perl. I don't like Tickle. That's one of the few languages really, whenever I see something in Tickle, I'm just I don't want to. I used to have a job writing Tickle code, and I didn't like it so much. But those are some languages. I want to learn some other languages. I want to learn Rust. I've heard about how it can be used for embedded processors, but it's more memory safe than C. And that's kind of cool because I'm just it's just pointers. I like pointers, but it's good to not have them.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, and Scheme. I don't get to code Scheme at work, but when I was in school, I do a lot of Scheme, and I love Scheme. This is a beautiful, beautiful language.
Okay. All right, and that is questions for the night.
Thanks, everybody.
Zoom. Okay. All right, trivia question, Lady Ada. What are the rules?
Rules are, if you've won anything before, you can't win again. Only one winner per my lifetime for this show. We're going to give away a Feather M0 Wink, the little Wi-Fi Feather board, all-in-one Cortex M0 Wi-Fi board. We have a new rule that I just came up with. You can't be a jerk. Jerks don't win.
Yeah.
You have to be nice because it's this. Didn't your mother teach you to be nice? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So we will only be giving out prizes to nice people.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So here's the question. Back in 2011, you were on Wired, and there was text right underneath where it says wired. It's not how to make stuff. There's a little bit of text underneath. So what was it that was underneath the text of wired?
The subheading.
You can start on Google and you can type in Lady Ada wired cover, and you can see that. So there's wired, and then there's how to make stuff, but right in between there's something else. And whoever gets that first.
Okay, go, 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 go.
It is not the DIY revolution. The first person to get it is,
I think that one.
yeah, congratulations.
Hold on, sorry, we're mousing.
Vinny Morrison in YouTube.
You have a cute like Totoro
Yeah.
icon. Vinny Morrison, congratulations.
Yeah, this is down
for
the
being
wire.
able to read. Good work.
Yeah, you won. Yay.
Yay.
Oh, there goes the chat. Bonk. Okay.
Okay. Congratulations, Vinny. You are a winner. You win
You won. Okay.
one of these. So what you should do is email support, SUPPORT, at adafruit.com. Adafruit, that's like what you're watching right now. And say, I won a P3061. Please mention the number 3061 so that they know what you won, and they will be able to send you this fabulous Feather M0 Wi-Fi. Very handy. You can make your own on-air sign.
Okay. And that's the show tonight. Code is BTLE. Thank you, everyone who helped with the show. Adafruit team members, the audience, the community, and more. And also, your orders help us. BTLE is the code, 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. And
That's the show.
that's the show.
We went over a little bit.
We're here next week. We will see you probably next couple days.
Streaming,
We
whenever.
have some live shows, some Desk of Lady Ada, some Tony D, and more.
I will try to stream, no problems, I'll try to stream tomorrow the OpenOCD stuff. I'm getting really good at OpenOCD on the Raspberry Pi. I want to show you how to program a bunch of different chips natively on the Pi. I think that's a cool stream. So I'll try to do that, because I wrote a tutorial about it.
Okay. And again, thanks everybody. See you next week. Here's a picture of Kat, and here's your moment of Zener.